All right, guys, if you've been watching the real estate market at all since the beginning of 2021, you'd probably know that most of the homes in Toronto and in the Greater Toronto area, in fact, in most of the North America, are selling with multiple offers. It's not unusual to see 10 to 15 offers on any given home in the area since the beginning of the year, which means that out of 15 people that submitted their bids, 14 will have to continue looking for another place because they wouldn't be able to get this first one due to the competition. So what I want to do is I want to give you a few tips on how to increase your chances and make this process easier, because it is very frustrating for both agents and buyers to continue looking for home after home after home until they win, if they win. So I want to give you a few tips on increasing your chances, and also at the very end of the video, I'll give you one tip, one single tip that can very well tip the scales in your favor every time. So one of the first things that you got to do is you got to make sure that you got your pre-approval before you start going around submitting bids on houses. You need to get a pre-approval from a bank with a formal letter confirming that. And not only that, we do suggest that you share this pre-approval with the sellers and with their agents so that the sellers have the confidence that you as a buyer have the finances to go through with this deal. Well, you also got to be monitoring the inventory all the time. Homes in Toronto are usually selling in this hot market over 7 to 10 days. In the US, in the overheated markets that they have, and that really covers most of the country, homes often selling within 3 to 4 days. So you have very little time to make a decision on whether to buy something or not. And it would make sense for you to make sure that you monitor the market every single day, and so does your agent. So whenever something that is suitable, that checks your boxes, comes up for sale, you can take a look at the property and make a decision before the bidding day. So I was telling you in the previous point how important it is to monitor the market both by yourself and through the agent, and there's two reasons for that, at least two. One, so that you can make a decision on time, before the offer date, whether this house is located in the place where you want, where it has everything that you want inside, and whether the pricing is something that you're comfortable with. But also, it is dangerous to make offers on houses without a condition on an inspection. And if you're putting a contingency or a condition on an inspection on the offer date, you will most likely lose, because the winning offers will have no conditions. So what you need to do is, once you satisfy yourself that this is the place that you're happy with, on the first day that it's on the market, order the inspection. You'll get the inspection report within 2 or 3 days, and by the time the offer day rolls around, you're fully ready to go in without any conditions, knowing what issues you need to address in the first couple of months of ownership. Another thing you can do, which most people want, is to write a letter to the sellers about who you are and why you want this particular home as opposed to anything else that's selling in the area. It's kind of a love letter for the property, and it can go a long way. So if there's a family that's selling the house that has 2 kids, you happen to have 2 kids, and they're looking at the offers that are similar in every single regard, but you have 2 kids just like them, that just might tip the scales in your favor. Well, I was telling you that I was going to give you a tip that will help you tip the scales in your favor more often than not. And it has to do with how you structure the amount of the deposit. Most people simply don't think about it. Normally, you would be expected in Toronto to give 5% of the value of the house as a deposit on the offer date, along with the offer on the multiple offer situation. So what if, instead of giving 5%, and for $1 million house it would be $50,000, you were to consider giving 10 to 15%, so $100,000 to $150,000 for a house that's worth $1 million. That will dramatically improve the optics of how the sellers see you as a buyer vis-a-vis other buyers that are submitting, because you can almost guarantee that they'll be coming in with just 5% of their offer. And your money is secure, after all. Nothing is going to happen to it if you lose. It's going to be held in the trust account of your lawyer, it's going to be held in the trust account of the brokerage, the listing brokerage that's dealing with the sellers, and that'll get applied towards the sell price on the closing date by the lawyer that's closing the transaction for you. So that's the last tip that will increase your chances of getting to a home that you really like. All right, guys, and of course there's no substitute for a knowledgeable agent that will be able to help you through the process on a multiple offer situation. So do give us a call and we'll be very excited to help you out in the buying process.